first in a series of 3 tutorials that cover a very important topic, and that's leveraging collection agency referrals to your best advantage. In this one, we're going to talk why and when to use a collection agency. So the 2 learning objectives: why it makes sense to use a third-party collection agency at all. And there are some very valid reasons why you should consider it. Then we're going to talk about when to refer a past due balance, things that you should consider. So first, let's talk about 7 points to consider to avoid what I call diminishing returns for your internal collection process. So think of it this way. What is the return on investment in terms of your time, your limited staff time, and the cost involved, the salaries, the benefits, the administrative costs? It isn't profitable to keep repetitively trying to collect a delinquent account when you can consider that a collection agency will only bill you a contingency fee on what they actually collect. So it saves a lot of internal time and valuable resources that you use for other purposes internally. It enables you to focus on your cash targets. Every credit manager has cash targets. 30 to 90-day balances is where the cash is in your accounts receivable portfolio. It's more likely that your internal collection efforts are going to resolve those balances. But when it becomes an older account, less dollars, less of a priority, it becomes more difficult to collect, and it also is less of a priority. So the effort that it requires just at some point in time, it just isn't worth it. You can leverage a collection agency's expertise. They'll see things if you have a regular relationship with a collection agency. They'll see if maybe some of the accounts you're referring should never have been approved for credit in the first place. You may want to review your credit policy. They may get pushback from those customers and find that there are some sort of repetitive errors or process breakdowns that you should be aware of, and they can give you suggestions. They can look at the documentation that you use, credit applications, and the other information that they need from you to collect these balances, and they may make some suggestions based on seeing what a broad range of companies that they work with do. There's a fact that timely referrals can actually improve your collections. There's been studies that show that valid invoices that aren't touched from a collection standpoint over time lose any ability to be collected. It diminishes over time. So what happens is if you are not addressing these past due balances effectively because you've got other priorities, then they are more likely to never be collectible. When you refer a past due balance to a collection agency, they jump on it right away. They focus on that. They want to collect that balance. That's how they get their contingency fees. So by sending referrals over on a timely basis, you're not only increasing the likelihood that those past due balances will be paid, but you're only paying, again, a contingency fee when they are. You can also leverage their collection software. Their collection software is typically going to give you a lot of transparency into the contacts they've made with those accounts and the notes and the balances that remain open and the things you need to do to be able to report to your management. And you can leverage that software. In some cases, you can actually connect their software to yours to give updates that give visibility throughout your system. A referral gets your customer's attention. If you've tried repeatedly to collect from an account, sometimes they just ignore it. It's background noise. They'll never do anything about this. They're just going to continue to send me emails. But once they get that notice from a collection agency, they know that you're serious. And they also know that a referral to a collection agency could be reported to the trade bureaus, to your industry credit group. Other creditors are going to consider that, and it could impact their ability to get trade credit from other suppliers that are very important to them. So it's a big deal when they get a notice from a collection agency. The other thing to consider is that most collection agencies have a free period. For example, a 10-day free period. So once that notice from the collection agency has gone out, if the amount is paid within that time frame, there's no contingency fee. So you have the advantage of letting your customer know you're very serious about collecting that balance, and oftentimes they'll pay almost immediately with the change of stationery. An agency can turn up or turn down the volume based on how you want that customer treated. In some cases, you may want to retain the business with that customer. You don't want to create any severe negativity. You just want them to know that you're serious about collecting the money. You can tell the agency, please, when you're dealing with this account, we want to continue to work with them. In other cases, you need to get paid. You need to get paid as quickly as you can. It's not an account you want to continue doing business with for one reason or the other. And the agency can be much more aggressive at your direction. And it doesn't really involve your firm's image at that point, because the agency is the one that they're dealing with. The other subtle impact of this is how many of us have not had a salesperson come in and try to have us not pursue an open balance, particularly a small open balance. Well, sales has no influence over collection agencies. They can't walk in and complain. So another subtle difference. In some companies, this is important. In other companies, it is less so.